Well, it's lovely to be back telling a story again, and I must thank Sian for coming down on this evening, the first lovely evening we've had for a long time, and thank you, Sian, for coming down to do the filming. I'm going to tell you a story, and actually, honestly, it's my most favourite story. I absolutely love this story, or it's a legend, and it's called The Three Trees. Now, on a hillside, there grew some trees, 3 trees, and they'd been planted there years before. And as they were growing, they each thought what they would like to be. They dreamed of what they would like to be when they actually matured. Now, the first tree looked up at the stars and saw the stars twinkling like diamonds and thought, "Ooh, when I grow up, I want to be made into a beautiful treasure box. I want to be covered in gold and filled with wonderful, wonderful jewels. That's what I want to be." The second tree saw a little stream running down the mountainside and saw it going all the way down, meandering down into the sea. And the second tree thought, "Ooh, I would like to be made into a fantastic sailing ship, a strong ship that will sail the seas and carry important kings. That's what I want to be, a wonderful sailing ship." The third tree said, "I just want to grow big and tall. I want to grow so tall that when people look up to the top of me, they will look up to heaven and they will think of God. That's all I ever want to do. I don't ever want to leave here." Well, years later, 3 woodcutters came along, and they looked at one looked at the first tree and he said, "Oh, this is a great tree. I'll have this one because this tree looks so beautiful. It's just what I need." And so he chopped the tree down. The second woodcutter said, "Oh, look at this one. This is a strong one. I'll have this one. It's just what I need, a good, strong tree." And the third woodcutter came to the third tree and said, "I don't care what I have. Any tree will do for me. I don't really mind." Well, the first tree, the wood was taken to a carpenter shop, but it was not made into a beautiful golden treasure box, but it was made into a feeding box for animals. It was not filled with jewels, but it was filled with hay for the animals to eat. And the second tree was taken to a boatyard, and it wasn't made into a fantastic sailing ship. Oh no, that was made into a common little fishing boat. A little fishing boat. It wasn't strong enough to sail the mighty oceans, so it was taken to a lake to sail on a lake. And the third tree, well, the third tree was just cut into planks of wood and just piled up in a lumber yard where they kept wood that was going to be made into other things. Well, a few years passed, and one night The first tree that had been made into a manger saw a very, very bright light shining through the door, and a man and a woman came, and the woman gave birth to a baby in the stable where it was. And she had nowhere to put her baby, so she put her baby in the manger, in the food box. That baby was Jesus. Well, some time later again, many years later actually, the little fishing boat, which was by now smelly from fish being carried in it every day, but some friends loved to go out in that boat on the lake. And one day they said, come on, let's go out for a row in the boat, a sail in the boat on the lake. So the friends got into the boat and off they went. They went on the lake when it was lovely, really calm and lovely. But that lake was known for storms brewing up very suddenly. And after a little while, the wind started blowing, the rain came down, the thunder roared, the lightning flashed, and the waves were massive, and they were coming into the boat. And the friends inside the boat were terrified. But when they looked, one of their friends was asleep. And they woke him up and they said, wake up, we're going to drown. And their friend woke up, and he stood up, and he just put his hand out and he said, peace, be still. And all at once, the storm stopped and the sea became calm, and the little boat was strong enough to be brought back to the shore. That man that fell asleep in the boat was Jesus. Now the third tree had been lying up in a pile of wood, all waiting to be used but forgotten for years. But one Friday morning, it felt itself being yanked out from the wood pile, and then it was dragged along the streets with people jeering and shouting, and it had been made into a cross. It had been made into a cross, and people were shouting and jeering as a man was dragging this cross along the streets. It felt dreadful. It felt ugly and mean. And then it felt nails being nailed into it. And that was the cross that Jesus died on. But that was on the Friday. On the Sunday, the cross, the tree that had been made into a cross, felt as if there was something weird happening. There was rumblings and the earth was shaking. And suddenly the tree felt wonderful. Something marvelous was happening. Jesus, who had died on the cross, had come alive again. And that is why we celebrate Easter. Now, we all think, well, maybe their dreams didn't come true. But the first tree's dream did come true, because the first tree did hold the most precious thing of all, not jewels, but baby Jesus. The second tree didn't sail the mighty oceans, but the second tree did carry a great king, the greatest king of all time, the King of heaven and earth. And even the third tree's dream came true, because every time we look at a cross, we remember Jesus and we look up to heaven and think of God. Isn't that a lovely story? It honestly is my favourite story. Now, I haven't got any craft today because I think there are a couple of crafts going out for adults and children to do over Easter in our church. There's an Easter bonnet competition and an Easter garden competition. So I thought we'll just finish with a prayer and keep that in your mind about all the wonderful things we dream of. Lord, things do not always go as we hope and plan for them to. But we hope and pray that you have a plan for us, a special plan. So let us put our hopes and trust in you, because you always know what is best for us. Amen.